You are rewriting reality. The fire in your hands is not fire. It is will made visible. It is the universe bending because you told it to. You have been telling it to for 10,000 years, and it has not stopped listening. Before the God, before the change, before the dust in the armor of your brothers, there was a space marine who wanted to understand everything. The wanting was always there. Tzeentch found it. Or perhaps Tzeentch put it there. At this point, that distinction is the most interesting question you have left. You were the Thousand Sons. Before that name carried the weight it carries now, you were the 15th Legion, the most gifted psykers the Emperor ever raised to war. Where other legions were built for endurance, or fury, or spectacle, you were built to know. Your genefather Magnus had grown up on Prospero, a world that embraced the study of sorcery and psychic power as legitimate disciplines. A world the Imperium would later decide was doing it wrong. He passed that to you, the hunger for understanding, the belief that knowledge was not just power, but purpose. The Thousand Sons were unlike any other legion. Your warriors were scholars as much as soldiers. Prospero was a place of vast pyramid temples, each one a library, a fortress, and an academy simultaneously. The accumulated knowledge of a galaxy being catalogued and studied while the Great Crusade burned its way across the stars. You studied the warp, not as a threat to be suppressed, but as a phenomenon to be understood. You used your psychic gifts openly and systematically in a way that made the rest of the Imperium deeply uncomfortable. The Emperor tolerated it because the results were extraordinary. The Thousand Sons were among the most effective warriors of the Great Crusade. Their mastery of sorcery gave them capabilities no other legion could match. They could unravel enemy plans before they were executed. They could reshape the battlefield with psychic power. But there was a problem the Thousand Sons could not solve with knowledge alone: the flesh change. A mutation spreading through the legion, warriors losing cohesion, bodies becoming unstable, the psychic gift consuming the vessel that carried it. Magnus made a bargain to stop it. The details of that bargain would only become clear later. The flesh change stopped. The wanting was always there. The bargain was always waiting for it. The Horus Heresy fractured the Imperium. Magnus saw it coming. This is the part that makes the Thousand Sons story different from every other traitor legion. Magnus did not choose chaos out of resentment or ambition or exhaustion. He chose to warn the Emperor. He used forbidden sorcery to project his consciousness directly to Terra, shattering the Emperor's secret Webway project in the process, to tell his father that Horus had turned. He was right about Horus. He was punished for being right. The Emperor, furious at the destruction of the Webway project, sent Leman Russ and the Space Wolves to bring Magnus to Terra for censure. But Horus intervened. Already corrupted and serving his own ambition, Horus carried the authority of the Imperial War Master and used it to change the order. Retrieval became destruction. Leman Russ believed the order came from the Emperor himself. It did not. The Thousand Sons were destroyed by a lie told by the man Magnus had risked everything to expose. The Space Wolves came to Prospero. The Thousand Sons fought to defend their home. The libraries burned. The academies burned. The accumulated knowledge of centuries burned. 9/10 of the Legion were lost. Magnus watched it happen, and in his fury and despair made the choice that completed what Tzeentch had been arranging all along. He accepted Tzeentch's offer fully and led his surviving sons into the Eye of Terror. He had tried to save the Imperium. The Imperium burned his world in response. He had used forbidden knowledge to do the right thing. The punishment for the right thing was the destruction of everything he had built. Tzeentch had known this would happen. The question is whether Magnus's warning was a free choice, or the exact move the Changer of Ways needed him to make to bring the Thousand Sons fully into his service. The libraries of Prospero are ash. The knowledge they contained is gone. Magnus carries it. So do you. You need to understand what Tzeentch is before you understand what he offered. Tzeentch is not the god of magic. That is the simplest description and the least useful one. Tzeentch is the god of change, of fate, of the belief that the universe is not fixed, that knowledge is the lever that moves everything, that nothing is inevitable until it has already happened, and even then, the records can be changed. He is the most alien of the four. Khorne wants blood. Nurgle wants acceptance. Slaanesh wants sensation. Tzeentch wants the game itself to continue. He does not want to win. He wants the pieces to keep moving. His followers are not corrupted in the way the other gods corrupt. They are elevated, changed, given abilities that place them beyond the mortal limitations that once constrained them. The sorcery that the Imperium feared in the Thousand Sons becomes, under Tzeentch, something vast and uncontainable. The warp does not resist them. It answers them. But Tzeentch is the god who sees all possible futures simultaneously. Every plan, every contingency, every outcome, already mapped in his shifting, impossible mind. His followers believe they are making choices. They believe they are pursuing their own goals with their own will. Tzeentch allows them to believe that, because the belief is more useful than the truth. The truth is that Tzeentch chose the Thousand Sons long before they chose him. The flesh change that Magnus bargained away before the heresy, Tzeentch sent it. The warning Magnus gave the Emperor that destroyed the Webway, Tzeentch arranged the circumstances that made it feel necessary. The Burning of Prospero, Tzeentch saw it in every possible future and guided events toward the version that served him best. The other gods take what they want. Tzeentch arranges things so that you give it to him freely. Inside the Eye of Terror, the flesh change returned. Tzeentch's gift of mutation continued working on the Thousand Sons, despite Magnus's original bargain. Warriors who had escaped Prospero began to lose cohesion again, the psychic gift consuming them, bodies failing, the change that could not be stopped resuming where it had left off. Ahriman, the greatest sorcerer in the Thousand Sons, and Magnus's most gifted son, decided to act. He gathered the most powerful sorcerers remaining in the Legion and cast the Rubric of Ahriman, an enormous ritual working of sorcery designed to stabilize the Legion permanently, to stop the flesh change once and for all, to save what remained of his brothers. Thousand Sons warriors with sufficient psychic power were elevated, their abilities dramatically enhanced. Their connection to the warp deepened beyond anything they had known before. These became the sorcerers, the living heart of the Legion. Thousand Sons warriors without sufficient psychic power had every joint and seam of their armor welded shut by infernal fire. The body within turned to ash. Their spirits were bound irrecoverably inside the sealed armor, unable to act, unable to think, unable to do anything except follow the will of a sorcerer close enough to direct them. The hollow suits of blue and gold power armor that are now the Rubric Marines, the core infantry of the Thousand Sons, brothers who are still present but no longer there. Magnus was furious. He had warned against the rubric. He had seen what it would cost. Ahriman had acted anyway, with good intentions, pursuing the knowledge he believed would save his brothers, and had instead produced exactly the hollow army that would define the Thousand Sons for 10,000 years. Magnus banished Ahriman from the planet of the sorcerers. Ahriman has spent 10,000 years searching for a way to undo what he did. Tzeentch watches both of them. The god of change does not seem displeased with how things turned out. Did Ahriman choose to cast the rubric? Or did Tzeentch arrange for him to believe it was his idea? The Thousand Sons make their home on Sortiarius, the planet of the sorcerers, a demon world within the Eye of Terror, reshaped by Magnus's will and Tzeentch's power into something between a fortress and a library. Towers of impossible geometry, archives of stolen knowledge, the skies above permanently churning with multicolored warp storms. The accumulated lore of a legion that has spent 10,000 years adding to what survived the burning of Prospero. Magnus led the Thousand Sons back into real space, targeting the Fenris system, the home of the Space Wolves, the sons of Leman Russ, who burned Prospero. But the siege of the Fenris system was not simply revenge. It was a scheme within a scheme, in a manner entirely appropriate to a Tzeentchian legion. The deaths caused during the siege fueled a powerful sorcerous ritual, and when it was complete, the planet of the sorcerers itself tore free of the Eye of Terror and appeared in real space above the ruins of Prospero. The Space Wolves were not the target, they were the mechanism. Tzeentch would have approved, had he not already planned it. In Ultramar, the Thousand Sons fought alongside the Death Guard during the Plague Wars, their sorcery and the Death Guard's unstoppable advance complementing each other in ways that tested even Guilliman's tactical ability. Across the Dark Imperium, the Thousand Sons pursue agendas that rarely align with simple conquest. They steal knowledge, they corrupt scholars, they unmake certainties. They do not want to destroy the Imperium in the simple way that other chaos forces do. They want to change it, to make it into something different, something that Tzeentch has already seen in one of his infinite futures. You are rewriting reality. The fire in your hands is not fire. It has never been fire. It is the evidence of a choice you made, or a choice that was made for you, 10,000 years ago, on a world that is ash, in a legion that wanted to understand everything, and paid for the wanting with everything it had. The hollow armor of your brothers advances beside you. They do not know what they lost. You do. Before the god, before the change, before the dust. There was a space marine who wanted to understand everything. You still do. Tzeentch planned it that way. Or you chose it.